Okay, so the overall atmosphere of a dealership, the way the way that's gonna look, oh my God! So it's the most competitive environment that's openly exposed. So there's really, really competitive environments in a lot of corporations, but you don't see them. They're not exposed like that. You don't actually see the people running around. So I worked at this dealership, and there was a salesperson about every like 20 feet, maybe, no, about probably, yeah, 20, 15 to 20 feet away from each other through the whole parking lot and everything. And that's how competitive it was. And I was like, well, and then, I got the stink eye, and I was like, well, I'm just going to go back to my desk because this is way too fucking intense. And I went back to my desk and I focused on the phone, and I was just sit there, and like, I could pick up the phone really fast, but you had to call back to the receptionist because they wanted to kind of control who was getting the calls. Well, the receptionist, didn't really care or whatever. She liked me or whatever. So she would go ahead. So you had to call it. So the phone, it would be, so you'd hear a page, sales call for line 1 or whatever. And then it would say that we had to call the receptionist back. So then I would pick up the phone, hit 101 or whatever it was, and she'd be like, oh, hi, it's okay, I have a call for you. And she'd put it through. So it was whoever could do that the fastest. And I was really good at it though, so I could get those appointments to actually sell something. But it was like, what? This is so crazy. Like, oh, what am I gonna have to do here to make a sale? And these guys, like, I usually have a good relationship with a lot of men, not all men, but most men. And I couldn't develop any relationships with any of the men there except the one that sat across from me because he was close enough. And that there was, so this is really telling. So there was a manager who had been demoted because he wasn't evil enough. And he was so nice to me. And he would come up and he would say to me, he'd like hint at the problems in the place, and he'd go, hopefully they're being nice to you. But then he would just kind of say it under his breath, like he didn't want to get in trouble, but he wanted me to know he was sort of looking out for me, but he couldn't really do anything about it either. So I was getting this, weird things were happening where I was kind of being gaslighted, and I was like, what the fuck, why did they throw my deal in the trash, or, like this stuff was going on and I couldn't figure it out. It was like, so it kind of helped to get this like little bit of support, even though he couldn't do anything for me. It kind of made me feel like, okay, maybe I'm not crazy. And then there was a moment when, he was like, thinking about like, I'm gonna go get another job, I gotta leave here. But he had been there for like 12 years and he was afraid to leave, because once you get that established in an industry like that, you kind of don't feel worthy for other industries either, because you're like, I'm a jerk salesperson, I've been doing this jerky fucking dealership shit, so like, who else is gonna hire me, and then but it was really fascinating that he had been a manager and kind of had been taken down and or he had taken himself out. Maybe it was a combination of kind of, decision there where he couldn't handle it because it was too gross. So then the other thing I want to say is, so in addition to these competitive sales floors, and they create that on purpose, and they expect a lot of turnover, and they're okay with that because they've got their solid guys at the top, the same 10 guys that always do really, really, really well, and they've been there forever, and they know how the game works, and they play the game, and they snake it. And they're, but they're good guys. They're still human. They're still people. They're still somebody's favorite uncle, or, your dad or whatever. They're not like evil people, but they're in this environment that kind of extracts the worst from you and forces you to set your ethics aside. And that's just the way it is. So you have to take the steps to be on guard, because nobody else is going to do it for you. I mean, you are not, those finance managers are going to take the absolute highest interest rate that they could possibly get, and expect that. And I think that's it. So if I have some more thoughts, I'll create another part for now. Please take this to heart. Don't take it advantage of. Pass it on. Look out for your friends and your peers and your family members and the people you love and care about. Don't just sit by and let them go through this shit. Talk about it. Like, be like, did you know about whatever? And if they get mad at you, that's okay. Just let them know you're doing that because you care. You know, like, you actually care about them and you don't want them to get ripped off. So be like, you want some help? I'll go with you down to the fucking dealership, you know? So you have some, you know, somebody, you know, that, so you feel like you can actually ask questions because somebody's got your back even. So you don't feel like you're like an asshole for asking questions. So anyways, hope that helps. And I will be here on the next one. I'm not going to tell you what it's about because I don't want to get in trouble yet. It's going to be interesting though. Okay? Bye-bye. Love ya.